Hey guys, welcome to episode 11 I think. And we get Assassin. So, going to reject. Alright, sorry for that introduction, that was quite a bad one. Let's start again. So welcome to this episode today. We are playing a 6-player game. We got Assassin, we're a spy. Tony is our Morgana friend. So Tony's gonna pick that again. Nope, no thank you. I'm gonna pick Hammer here because I'd like to bribe the Hammer. And Bommy is just being annoying here. He's saying, Percy the Mogul Assassin because... no, because he doesn't have a lot of videos being spied, so he wants to record this. Yeah, that's just being annoying, man. If you see Bommy in game, this is Bommy's alternate. If you see him in game, talk shit for me. Okay, Piggy's gonna pick that. So let's take a look back at mission 1. Steve picks Piggy. Steve picks Piggy. Obi-Wan picks Steve. Obi-Wan and Steve. Tony picks Gala and Obi. I picked Piggy and then Piggy picked Obi-Wan. Okay. So I have Hammer this round, so that's a good sign. So Gala had just put himself onto mission 1. Still standard place. And Steve is putting himself onto mission 1 as well. So Obi-Wan, who was on mission 1, hey, that right? He put Steve Dog on. Nah, shouldn't mark him as a potential Merlin. Piggy could also be potential Merlin. Anyone could be Merlin, really. There's not enough to go on. Yeah, anyone could be Merlin. Even Gala's mission 2 pick was Merlin. So the only saving grace we have in this game is that I have the Hammer. Because I can pick mission 1 plus myself and then fail it. That's the only saving grace here. You know what? I'm gonna play a little bit sneakily. I'm going to succeed this and then fail the mission 3. This way we get to see more of a reaction from Resistance. Whether Resistance wants to repick mission 2, whether they don't, and who they accuse, how they pick from then on. Will be very interesting. So I'm gonna succeed this intentionally. I'm gonna see how this works. Now, who is going to accuse mission 2? Let's see, anyone gonna say anything? No, it doesn't look like it. So Steve Dog says, from my point of view, Tony and Gala are spies. Tony and Gala are spies. Okay. And Steve is saying, well, mission 1, mission 2 floated then. So Piggy picks Gala. Obi-Wan repicks Steve. Now Piggy's taking Gala. I'm going to prove this. There's no reason to reject this. So let's see. If this goes ahead, the Hammer resets back to me as well, which is another very, very good thing. Because if mission 3 fails, I get the Hammer. I can fail mission 4, and then Tony has the mission 5 Hammer. So we want this team to go ahead. The Hammer placements are good if this team gets ahead. Okay, got approved. That's good for us. Tony now is just joking around. Steve, who are we shooting? Because remember, in 6 players, 4 people are Resistance, and if 4 people are these 4, the other 2 left off are the 2 spies. So Tony's just joking around with Steve. Steve, who are we shooting? Steve sounds not a spy. So Tony's saying, you're saying this is a double? Indeed. Now remember, Tony is the Morgana, right? So, talking to Steve, you can see that Tony is sort of edging him onto, saying, he's saying sort of doubles. Steve is like, yeah, indeed it was. He's agreeing with him, pretending that, he has information as well. So Steve could be Percival. And Piggy puts on Gala. That's, still something to be aware of. Steve says, I believe Galahad is one spy and Piggy is the other. Someone floated mission 2, no way. Says Gala, I'm just gonna accuse him here. Nice acting, Gala. Steve looks saying mission 1 and 2, so he's saying mission 1 as well. Mission 1 was Piggy and Obi, that was clean, right? And Steve's always saying that also floated. Shush, print up. Yeah, Bommy is still being annoying. He has this joke going on, like Bommy just himself. He has this joke saying that I'm always Merlin, so I am always the Merlin. Merlin's confirmed spy, Nothing I can really do. If I reply to that, it might be giving away my frustration and people might spy me for that, so I'm just not going to reply to that. Steve Dog saying spy between Piggy and Obi. Piggy and Obi. So Steve Dog is accusing Mission 1 very hard. That was based off Tony's suggestion of his double, maybe. So I'm gonna ask him whether Steve thinks that Mission 3 doubled. If Steve also thinks, M3 doubled, then Tony plus Steve is basically Perez. Oh, Pro did 100%. I have info, says Steve. Oh, Steve is now accusing me. Look at Bommy. I spy Pro now, please. This is getting frustrating. Now, what is Carla gonna pick? Steve Dog is basically a PR. Spy is between Piggy and Obi-Wan, unless Pro is a spy. So now Steve is saying, if Pro is a spy, then Mission 1 was clean. Very Percy-like. Yeah, shut up, Piggy. Shut up. Carla had his confirmed spy though. So Steve is still, calling the wrong person spy. In fact, if Steve is Merlin here, so Steve is seeing Tony as one of Morgana, he has to see one other person who is Merlin, right? And that and that person he has to accuse as being the Merlin, right? So this could be a Merlin. Because he's accusing Carla. He has to raise one of the other, right? That is if Steve Dog, yeah. If Steve Dog is a Percival. Now he's saying, if Pro's a spy, Piggy and Obi-Wan are res now. And second, if Pro's res spies between Piggy and yeah, Steve is claiming very loudly that he's Percival because look, if the two Merlins are between Tony and Carla, out of the remaining 3 VTs, right? He's saying that if Pro's resistance, then spies between these two, and if these two are good, then I am the spy. Does that make sense? Sorry, I don't know what I just said. I said, if I am the spy, then these two are clean. If these two is bad, then I am confirmed good. So Steve is, he's giving himself away very hard here. He's talking way too much. Carla's saying, I'll have to act on one of these two scenarios. Which one? I'm very happy shooting Galahad right now, to be honest. But Steve Dog could be tricking us and he could be Merlin himself. Yep, Gala's picking clean here. If he's the Merlin, he has to do that. Reject. If I was picking, I would pick Pro and one of Piggy Obi. So Steve is really raising me. Yeah, he can't be Merlin. Steve can't be Merlin. But he still is a PR. Let's just mark that. So Steve is picking the Morgana and me. Going to approve this. Carla's saying I'm resistant. Please believe me, Percy. Please believe me, Steve Dog. Don't kill me. Is what he's trying to say, sort of, with that. I'm res. I can feel desperation behind those 2 words. Obi-Wan's going to pick clean. He's going to avoid Gala. That could still be a VT move there. Oh, Steve rejected, Piggy rejected, and Gala approved. This is looking bad for resistance and looking very good for us. Steve Dog rejected, Piggy rejected, and Merlin off approves. Oh god, Gala head is getting desperate. Although that said, Gala's 4.1, yeah. Even though it's completely clean, he's the only off-app, but Obi-Wan also off-apped. What did he pick? Tony picked Steve Dog and Piggy. Reject. Obi approved. So he just took the hammer from that as well. He's not giving Tony the M5 hammer. So, since everyone is now calling me a res, even Steve Dog, I'm in quite a good shape now. I don't really want to pick Obi because he's off-apping, but because Mission 4 was just these 3, if I'm going to pick Tony, I have to. So, let's pick Tony, let's just do this. And Steve Dog is saying, Tony, Gala is a spy. Now, Steve, did you add 100%? That's just a 5, he just missed the shift. That should be a percent. 100% clean, this is clean, it has to be. So that mission I rejected for safety. I still want to feign VT-ness, you know, pretend I'm still resistance. And Obi-Wan does that as well because he doesn't know what's happening, so it's safe for him to do that. It's safer for him to reject. But the two PRs they approve, that's understandable, so you know. So that's why I'm saying I'll approve the next repick of this. Tony, it was a safety reject. Just in case. I'll add the next one. This is the only team that makes sense anyways. Any team that doesn't have me makes no sense, damn it, Pranav, says Carla. I'm saying, you know, I'm listening to Steve here since he has info, and Steve Dog accused Carla way earlier, so it's possible, Steve. I think it is likely it did. So, Steve is asking me whether M3 doubled. M3 was 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. Ah, sorry, Obi was on. Steve was off, yes. So if it's doubled, then there are 2 spies between these 4, then the remaining 2 are confirmed resistance, basically, if it's doubled. So Steve is asking me whether I still think Tony's good. And I'm saying, you know, Pro, do you think M3 doubled? Well, since he has info, it's possible, Steve. I think it is likely it did double. Kind of M2 definitely floated. Perhaps the person was trusting wrong Merlin because I'm the resistance. So Piggy's starting to pick up on it. Piggy can feel that the person was doing the wrong thing. Yeah, Piggy's just being a desperate VT. There's nothing much he can really do in this situation. Tony now being sarcastic, this is the best pick ever made. Probably. And it all got rejected, yep. That's to be expected. Gala had fairly certain Pranav as a spy. Gala. The spies were already made clear ages ago. And I definitely am not one. So at this stage, the spies are just trying to get the resistance to believe us. And Piggy being the VT, seeing that he's not being picked, he's getting worried. Gala had, you know, him being Merlin and seeing his Percival morgue himself and calling the wrong person Merlin, he's getting really desperate. So he's trying to accuse me. Now Tony's coming to my rescue and he's saying, you know, Pranav and Gala had on different teams. So that's what we spies are trying to do now. We're just trying to, you know, pull the resistance over to our side and pick us for our failing missions. I'm pretty sure I said this in the first couple episodes, but spies always want to win, if possible, through fails. If they can't win through fails, then as a backup, as a last resort, sort of, we have the assassination to help us win. Steve, assume for a moment that I'm raised as well as you. Who would you pick for the other two? Piggy and Pro. Yeah, Galahad is... I feel sorry for Galahad right now, I really do. Steve is just going crazy personal mode and making the wrong decisions. Oh, I feel sorry for Gala. That is, of course, if he is Merlin. If my deductions are completely wrong and he's not Merlin and Steve Dog's Merlin, then I'll be very surprised and no longer be sorry for Gala, but I'm quite certain Gala's the Merlin in this game. Carlos delaying a long time. I'm saying just pick, you're not hammering away. Steve can hammer this. So I'm saying even though I call Steve Dog Res, or Steve Dog the Hammer, you know, it doesn't mean that Obi is a spy. I'm saying Obi is also a resistance from my point of view, because remember, mission 4 was Steve, Tony, Pig. And if I believe these two, then Piggy has to be the one who failed it. So I have to call him Res, especially after I also accused Gala. Piggy's saying, Steve's saying, Piggy, why'd you claim VT? Steve Dog's starting to get very skeptical and very worried. So at this point, Tony should be saying something. Tony really needs to be like, Steve, we've been through this, you know. Oh yeah, Tony's now starting to make his move. That's good. Oh, you can hear Steve Dog getting very desperate as well. He's getting very concerned. I'm sorry for all that background noise. There's lots of people in this room and yeah, just sorry about that. Piggy, why'd you claim VT? VT has no res cause everyone is thinking I'm a spy. Okay, I got a clean team now. VT, Morgana. Since there are 3 people claiming I'm a spy, who claimed Piggy as a spy? You, Tony Pro. You entertained that possibility. Steve, you don't really think I'm a spy, do you? Honestly, if we lose this because of your bad decisions, I will be very upset. God is saying maybe Piggy is the spy. Yeah, Steve is getting very skeptical about Tony. I'll just approve this. Tony should be rejecting, but he might decide to off up. Because Carlo's going to reject definitely if he's Merlin. Piggy's going to approve, he says he's going to, Steve is also probably going to since he picked it. Especially since he's thinking Obi is a spy, he doesn't want it to let the hammer, you know, go over there. Ah, Tony should have approved that one. Tony really should have approved that one. That's okay. Obi is basically a spy in a ways. From Steve Dog's point of view, but now yeah. Oh shit. Okay, so they won that one. Okay, so I really wanted Steve, Percy, Gala, Merlin. I said that at the top here. Let me just scroll through the chat now. This assassination discussion. So where does it start? Okay, here we go. So it starts here. How about here? Slowly scroll, you pause it when you need to see. When you need to read. So, I really want to, you know, you guys heard me going through all of this, you know that, why I think Gala was Merlin, and why Steve Dog was Percival, but Tony really wanted Obi-Wan, because of mission 4. 4.1, Obi randomly approved, off-approved as well, when the 2 rejects, and then Gala had also approved randomly, from Obi's pick. And also Gala had said that Piggy could be a spy, at the end of near mission 5. At the end of, like, near at 5.3 or something, God had said that Piggy could also be spy up here. So that's why Tony was like, nah, no Merlin would risk that. So Galha cannot be Merlin. But Galha was Merlin. I can understand Tony's frustration here, because really, Obi-Wan should not know that that team was clean in mission 4.1. And also Obi-Wan repicked it and basically put himself back onto Galhad's pick. So I can really understand Tony's frustration and why he wants to shoot Obi. Well, that was a winnable game for us, but yeah, this is another problem with spies and their assassination. When one person wants to shoot one person, the other person wants to shoot the other, you get into disagreements and arguments, and I tend to believe Morgana more, because Morgana tends to have a better feeling of who's Percival and who's, or when she lost trust, and when the Percival picks out the correct Merlin, so I tend to trust Morgana. When I'm Morgana, I like to assert my opinion, but in the end, it's still a good idea to be nice and be open-minded. If someone wants someone shot really badly, especially as much as Tony did through his chat, you could feel his expressive, and annoyance and the annoying. You can feel the annoyed tone of Tony's speech through his chat. So I let Tony get his choice, but it doesn't really bother me too much actually, as long as I know I was right from the start. But that's okay. I also get these assassinations mixed up a lot as well. I can't read that well every single game, so I don't blame Tony at all. That was a good game, except the one thing I have here is that mission 5.4, Tony probably should have off-apped there. If I was Tony, I would definitely have. But otherwise, that was a fun game as well, you can learn from that. So finally we have our second spy game. Hey guys, so I'm recording this after the game, and it's been revealed that Obi-Wan and Galahad are actually the same player, so they were cheating this game. And it's actually quite obvious if you think about it, and it's really the only way that they could have won that game, because spies had won that definitely through missions. Obi-Wan picked mission 5 very, very quickly, and with 100% accuracy. His votes were spot on as well, and I guess you can't say spot on because he did off-up or approve a couple dirty missions, but his chat also very lacking, and Galahad and Obi-Wan have been cheating. So don't be like them, don't create more than one account, and please play fairly. Alright, that wraps up this episode. I'll see you in the next one.